Alright, bit of a tidy up going on before we get into the meat and potatoes of this. I've done a stupid thing again. Anybody who's been watching my channel for a while will know that one of my first videos was a video about some cheap Chinese collets that I bought, which turned out to not be the greatest purchase ever made, which is putting it somewhat mildly over a pile of junk. I have today done a very similarly stupid thing. I bought another tool. It's a tool that I've needed for a while, but a tool that I've needed for a while. Needed, not really. We've got one at work, so I can actually use the one at work. But it does mean moving stuff around to be able to use it. I was out shopping today after dropping the kid off to do his exam at some point, and I came back with this. Can we see what that is? That is a Parkside, so Aldi brand metal cutting bandsaw. I've no idea how bad it's going to be. I suspect it's not going to be the greatest. So let's get into it. 1100 watts. Takes a 1140 blade. It's corded, and apparently it can be used freehand as well as on its base. What does it have? Well, you've got a handle for when you're using it freehand. I think we can lose that. You need to be holding the trigger to make it work. That's a pain in the arse. It has an on-off switch, which is not an on-off switch, but is in fact, if we plug it in, the on-off switch is not an on-off switch, because now we're plugged in, the on-off switch turns on the work light, which you may just about be able to distinguish down here. It's about as much use as a chocolate teapot. Variable speed, so from super fast through to quite slow. When it's running on the super fast mode, there's a definite throb to it. There's something that's not entirely square, I suspect, inside. There's a blade guard here, which is supposed to be down. It's delivered up. Probably want to put in down for use. Blade tensioner here. What else? Right. Okay. This is where you remove the thing to be able to use it freehand. There's a thing to block it in the down position, but nothing, in fact, to block it in the up position. And given that it's just about balanced, makes putting work in a bit tricky. It's got a very, very chintzy base made out of pressed steel. There's nothing much square about it. It's not square with the zero setting of the angle of this. It's not square with the zero setting vertically either. That's quite amusing. There is a 4 centimetre gap between the edges of the jaws and the blade in the zero setting. There is a 2 centimetre gap, I think. Where's my ruler? Between the support and the blade, there's a 2 centimetre gap, again in the zero setting. That's not fantastic. I would have wanted that to be right next to the blade. It's a rapid thing. You flip that over. It does seem to hold stuff reasonably well. So in that respect, it's probably all right. It's not exactly quality, but it's just about all right. The base is made of 1mm steel, as far as I can tell, maybe slightly less, pressed. There is the ability to change the angle of cut this way. So if we undo this handle behind, which is conveniently placed behind the tool, we can then, hopefully, if we index the handle a bit more, an indexable handle which might be able to be used elsewhere, we can turn the. Oh come on, bloody parkside. So we turn this. We can turn our blade this way, at which point we have, there's my ruler, where did I put my ruler, there's my ruler. We now have a minimum of 5.5 centimetres overhang at the shortest point for cutting. That's, yeah, okay. All very how's your father, and it needs a support on the other side, really. There's an awful lot of flex to it. That's coming from the high quality steel that the base is made from. The whole thing wibbly wobblies. I haven't actually looked at the inside yet. There are roller bearing supports for the blade side to side. There doesn't appear to be a bearing supporting it that way, although I'm not sure. What's very peculiar is that it cuts against the moving jaw of the vise and not against the stationary jaw, which is what I would have expected. I would have expected the vise in the other direction. That way you're pushing against something that's solid rather than this. What else to say? It looks like a transformer. Motor is brushed. Well, that's no big deal, is it? Yeah, none of it's really much square. There's no descent. There's no descent piston, so I need to bodge one of those together. Out of the box, that's what it looks like. I think I've probably shot myself in the foot again. The initial cut on a piece of wood is nowhere near square. That's not entirely surprising, given how wonderfully it's all adjusted. Okie dokie, piece of 10 by 10. It's a piece of old junk. Put in there. I might put some cutting juice on there, maybe just for laughs. I think it might need some. And we'll see if this will cut it off. We're at low speed. Let's put the work light on so that we can see what we're doing. Well, it is cutting, slowly, but it's cutting. Definitely going to have trouble with 80 by 80. It's as soon as you put any pressure on it, you can feel the motor bog down. Let's try it a bit faster, maybe. Okay. You going to stay upright? No, you're not going to stay upright. See what I mean about the blade? What a fucking pain in the arse. So that supports shit, isn't it? And the cut. That's a nasty burr, but that was kind of what we did expect. It's a long way from being square, obviously. Otherwise, yeah, it's a bandsaw cut, isn't it? Now, why did I buy this? Because I like old tools. I bought this because it was 115 euros, and even a second-hand, totally shagged out industrial bandsaw, three-phase bandsaw, is going to be at least 5 times that cost. Making my own would have been feasible, I guess, but you know, you need to get around to it. When you need a tool, you need a tool, and you know, hey, why not? I was expecting the base to be utter shite. The support is perhaps a little better than I expected, although it cuts the wrong way. angle cutting, well, I don't cut angles anyway, and that's rubbish. At the very least, it needs a support on the other side of the blade. This junk needs to go, really. I think what's actually going to happen is that I might possibly keep the angle support, or I'll adjust it so that you can lock the thing in the vertical position. That would be a good idea. And actually, does it have a possibility of doing that? It doesn't seem to, does it? There seems to be a hole through there, and there's a thing here that might possibly be a locking nubbin. Does it line up? No, it doesn't. It doesn't line up. I might keep the base. I don't think so. Possibly keep the support arm. Make up my own base. I think that's the only way to go. Make something that is square and solid, and we'll use it that way, because as it stands, it's a piece of shit. Should have bought an old machine.